Okay, guys, thank you for tuning into The Real Deal with Keith Trent. Today we have the actress, the producer, director, and all-around community activist, Dominique Paramore. How are you doing this morning?
Hi, I'm excited. Feeling good. How about you?
I am doing fantastic. So why don't you just start by introducing yourself and just let us know how long you've been in the industry and what drew you to it in the first place.
Oh, wow. So my name is Dominique Paramore. I've probably been in the industry, I should say, since 2011. I started off really doing extra work on movie sets here in my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. What drew me to the industry, I've always been a performer. I came out performing. If you let my mom tell it, she couldn't even discipline me because I had such a huge imagination. So she would say she could put me in an empty room and I'd play with my shadow. So, but it's difficult, I guess, here in an area like Cleveland where there's not a lot of pipelines set up to take young natural talent and develop it and actually get it working. So the church was a huge outlet for me. I was always connected to a church that really invested in youth, and so I performed a lot, spoke a lot, gave speeches. And then as a teenager, I was in a program in Cleveland called All City Musical, and I was in West Side Story. And
that's my favorite musical of all time. Good stuff.
Mine too. You could not tell me nothing. I was performing at Playhouse Square. I mean, we rehearsed at Playhouse Square. You know, had a dressing room with like the lights around the mirror and everything. So I was just bit by the bug then. And from then on, I just kind of tried to figure out how to transition from a budding talent who was interested in the industry into actually being involved in the industry.
Gotcha. See, and in that way, our careers are very much like kindred spirits, because I had the same experience growing up with the performing for the family and then starting up in the church and then trying to find that way from, doing on stage to transitioning that more into film and television. So let me ask you, do you prefer being more in front of the camera and on stage or more behind the scenes now that you're started to add like the director and producer hat as well?
I know, right? They call me that now. Isn't that cool? You know what? I love both. I don't want to say equally, but I love them both very differently. I'm passionate about both. Of course, being the performer is my first love, and I could not live without it. Recently, I've just developed an appreciation for having a hand in really telling a story and taking talent and helping develop that talent and maximize it to give a great performance. So I love to incorporate both in my career.
Nice. And so let me ask you, when did you decide to take matters into your own hands by, creating your own businesses and starting to pour more into the other talent and help them progress as well?
Every business venture that I kind of got involved with was birthed out of a love for the arts. I had a magazine fresh out of college, and it was a Christian urban culture publication, and that gave me an opportunity to highlight Christian urban culture and music and fashion, and which was something I was passionate about. And then I transitioned, of course, into doing plays and things like that because I love plays and I love to tell stories. And my Paramore Acting Academy, again, being in Cleveland, I wanted to kind of create an answer for that issue that me and my parents had, so when there is a young, talented youth who is amazing, how do we develop them and how do we get them tapped in so that they can actually start working and doing what it is that they love? So it was all birthed out of a love for the arts. With the Land FAU, the television show, I just went on a lot of auditions, and that's the journey of an actor. You go on a lot of auditions. That's the bulk of your job. And
tell me about it.
Right. And when you encounter so many stories and you don't necessarily see images of women and women of color that are healing and uplifting, it just it sparked something in you to want to create, and that's what happened with me. I just wanted to be a part of creating more healing images of women of color and more uplifting images of women of color.
Nice. Well, of course, here at T&E, that is one of our pride and joys. One of the reasons that I got involved with the magazine in the first place was definitely helping to highlight people of color more, because, like, as you said, it's true that we just don't get to see as many positive images of, strong black men and women on film. So we definitely want to see more of that in the future. So we definitely thank you for your efforts in that regard. So let me ask you, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of your other businesses besides the one with your magazine?
Oh, so I had a magazine, and then after that I kind of developed a media company, and that's how I just kind of started doing speaking engagements at schools. I would do plays with youth. I started developing talent, doing trainings, and and then after that I just started, going into doing television shows. But I in between there do a lot of stuff with my community. But those are just individual based. I do a lot with voting drives.
Right, I had seen something in your bio about a venture that you went into with your brother, where you guys were doing like a comedy tour of sorts to like try to.
Yes, we did. It was called the Good Vote Comedy Tour, and what happened was my brother, who is a professional comedian, he just had him and his friends get together, and I said, you know what? What's the way that we can actually like pull people together to do voter registration? And people love to be entertained. So we just went around the state of Ohio, and we put on a comedy show, and then people were actually able to register to vote, and we made sure that they had information on both candidates, and it was very, very successful. I love working with my brother.
Nice. It's always good when you can bring the family in and work together, in common interests. That's always a beautiful thing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some things that were like the most enjoyable and fulfilling things about being able to do some of your outreach programs and your efforts just within your own community?
Absolutely. So, again, going back to these healing and uplifting images of women of color, the image of the black woman specifically has just endured so much abuse over the decades, right? And a lot of that abuse we internalize as young girls based on how people interact with us as we're growing and developing. You're a lot of times more thicker than other little girls. Your hair's a little coarser. You're not really seeing yourself reflected. And I don't think that it was enough for me to just be an actress and try to tell stories, or even get behind the camera and try to tell stories. I always wanted to reach into the community. I never wanted to be the pinup where a little girl could say, oh, my God, I want to be like Dominique when I grow up. I wanted to be like, oh, that's Miss Dominique. She was just at the community center, and now she's, like, getting her Oscar. You know what I'm saying? And that was really the reason for me. I never wanted to have to reach back to my community. I always wanted to keep a hand there. And so I put a lot of effort and focus into, making sure that as I climbed in my career, I always made time a year to invest in youth, in my community, in any way that I could.
That's awesome. That's one of the things that drew me most to your story. Is it's so good to see people of color who have a genuine concern about the community in which they grew up in, and wanting to always use their platform as a way to uplift the community, because I feel like, especially in 2017, it's so important for us not just to use our creativity as like entertainment for the world, but also use that creativity to help and uplift and enrich each other, and that's everything that we're about at T&E Magazine, and I definitely applaud your efforts.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I also wanted to, why don't you tell us a little bit about the land? You mentioned it briefly. What inspired you, and like, how did you start the beginning of the writing process of the series?
Okay, that's a great question. So The Land, FAU, is a police drama. The Land is a short name for Cleveland. FAU stands for Fugitive Apprehension Unit. So it is a cop drama about a small fugitive apprehension unit in Cleveland, Ohio, that goes after high-profile fugitives within the city. That whole concept was birthed out of, again, going on those auditions, not really seeing the characters that I would like to see and see the stories that I would like to be a part of, though I was blessed to be a part of some great stories. I just wanted more opportunities, and I wanted more opportunities for the people that I was coming in contact with as a budding actor, right? So I was meeting all this amazing talent along the way, right? And it was just people who you knew that just the world would love you. If you had an opportunity and your platform was large enough, and there was a vehicle to really put out and showcase your talent, the world would love you. You're a great person. You're a great talent. You look amazing. And my list kept getting longer and longer and longer. And I had a friend at the time. His name was Jeremy Earl, and he was much further along in his acting career than I was. And I just asked him, I said, hey, Jeremy, I want to do a show that's going to help, create a platform for us. If people aren't going to create these roles or give these roles to us, because even when big budget movies would come to Cleveland, a lot of the casting would be done outside of Cleveland. So the only roles that they had were 5 and under or a lot of extra roles. And it's like, let's write our own lead roles. And really that's what that was birthed out of. But I wanted to also make sure that it was authentic. I feel like sometimes art can be one-sided, meaning we give a lot to art and art doesn't give back to us. We consume a lot of art. We spend a lot of our hard-earned money on art, whether it's going to concerts, anything. We pay, but the community doesn't see it back. And so with The Land FAU, I really tried to do a lot of research on what was really affecting the communities here in Cleveland negatively and how we could actually create some answers for that. So when you watch FAU, not only are you getting a fantastic narrative, but it's a true narrative that will, while you're paying attention, can actually help you address some of the issues that we see in our community, and that was really important to me.
Nice. Amazing. So what are you looking to accomplish with the series? Do you have, like, a full scope of the series and where you want it to go?
I want us all to just, be shining, right? That's all. I want the city to shine. I want everybody involved with the project to shine. I want other independent artists who are struggling to get their projects out for people to invest and pour more money into our area so that their stories can be told. I just want a lot of shining going on in the long term. And in the short term, I just want to make a good product that Cleveland can be proud of, Ohio can be proud of, and anybody who has similar stories as ours. If you have disadvantaged communities in your cities that, deal with sex trafficking. Ohio is one of the hugest states in terms of sex trafficking. If you have communities where people are getting shot because they are unarmed, if you have communities where people are going hungry, like there is starvation, where the kids are underserved, undereducated, where they're not graduating high school, if you can relate to any of the issues that we have, then we want you to be proud of the series too. And that's the short-term goal.
Gotcha. So what was the process like from getting it to its original format? Because in the beginning you wanted it to be like an internet, like a web series, correct?
Correct. So, definitely wanted it to be a web series at first. And then, it was tough, right? It was just tough making it. When we did make it, the quality didn't come out the way that we wanted the quality to come out. And along the way, we just kept getting more support and more support and more support. And then we just stayed with it. For about 4 years. I think we shot our pilot 4 different times. Every time we would shoot one and it didn't come out the way that we wanted it to come out, we shot it again. We fixed whatever those errors were and we shot it again. And I want to say maybe after 4 years in that journey, I came across a gentleman by the name of Devin Collins, and that was just life-changing for the project. Devin Collins is a local executive producer here with Stimuli Films, and he's also the executive producer on the Land FAU, and he just brought his whole entire network into the project. I mean, the quality went up. We were able to get funding. We were able to really get the ball rolling. And then all of the sponsors that had been supporting us along the way, like Lachey Cosmetics, who was helping us, look good on camera, and donating makeup artists, and people who were donating food to set. Like, we were really able to build on those and create the product that's out now. So huge shout out to Devin, Khalil, the whole FAU executive producing team for just coming on board and just taking us to the next level.
Nice. So with what you were saying about the network, that kind of leads me into my next question. What are so now you're developing it more for, is it a half hour or an hour, like TV format?
It's a half hour, very exciting. It's a half hour, great TV, and we got a deal with Bounce TV Central Ohio. So they're actually broadcasting the show. We did a teaser just to kind of introduce it to the audience on October 15th, and we were in 250,000 homes. It was amazing. The reception was off the chain, and so we're looking forward to putting out the whole season. One of the things that we are in transition of is one of our main characters, Tommy Ford, who played Tommy on Martin. He played our police chief. And so while we were in the middle of filming, he passed away.
Right. You know what? I had totally forgotten about that. But was it last year or the year before?
It was last year, I believe, October 12th. And we were in full swing. So we shot 2 episodes with Tommy. He took a break for some, I believe, some health reasons, not anything deep. I believe it was routine stuff. And during that break, we were not able to begin shooting again because he had passed away. And so that was really tough on our team. That was really tough on the project. He's an amazing person and an exceptional talent, a natural mentor, and I'm sure that he has left so many footprints of great memories across so many hearts throughout his lives, and we are definitely on that list. And so we're a family, and that really, really hit us hard, and it actually took a while for us to even regroup to know kind of what our next step was because we were very emotionally affected by that.
Right. Well, I'm sure that definitely what he's left behind will, it's like you said, just those footprints and the fact that, he was a mentor and a help to the other actors and helping them to open up things that they might not have seen before or recognized in themselves, while on screen. And one of the great things about film is being able to, be immortalized where people, your friends and your family can look back on your work and just remember, what an amazing person you were. And it's definitely great too because in the show you have him playing a very, dramatic character, which is something that his fan base is not really used to seeing.
Man,
so I'm sure the fans would definitely be glad to have like that other side of him, to see his talent in a different way.
And let me tell you, Keith, it was so effortless for him. We know Tommy to just be funny and just, whimsical, and he is a naturally funny person. Like, if you're sitting there talking to him, he will be making you laugh, and he will be encouraging you in the Lord, and it'll be just a good old time. But when that camera goes on, when I tell you it's effortless, I don't care how dramatic that scene is. He is just on point. It was an honor for me to have him work with my words. Yeah. And have him squeeze emotion out of the dialogue that I wrote. That was just in honor that I will take with me for the rest of my career. And though we only have 2 episodes with him and the whole season is a 9-episode season, I do believe that this was his last project. And, you know, we're excited to, even if it's for 2 episodes, just show that side of him, you know, and we know that people will enjoy it as much as we did making it with him.
Right. So 9 episodes for the season. That's awesome. What's the process like now having the network involved? Is it
it's fun,
is it like
right?
with this new dynamic?
It's more fun, right? Because you get to be on TV, and I know that's just a very simple answer, but it's so true if you ask me. I mean, Keith, just being honest, I remember sitting on the floor in the living room looking up to a television on a stand in my mother's living room and watching The Cosby Show with my mouth open, just trying to figure it out, like, how did they get on here? And I would tell my mom, I can do this, Ma. And I would just, read everything that I would see Rudy do, I would do for her. Like, Ma, look, I can do this, you know? And so I could not figure out how to make it happen. And so to fast forward to this stage in my career, to be able to turn on the television and see myself is just rewarding and fun, and it just it's very energizing, and it makes you want to do great work and continue to work with the great people that I get to work with.
Nice. So how was it, what was the casting process like for you? How was it finding people to fit the specific cop types that you were looking for and then get them to mesh together in an authentic way on screen?
So I love that question. So shout out to my co-stars, Ryan Martin, Robert Bray, Kim Whitehead, just everybody who is a part of the Land FAU. There were kind of 2 stages to it. One, again, like I told you, there was already a network of actors that I was previously working with on smaller projects that I just was a huge fan of. So they were no-brainers, like Amari Bryan, again, Ryan Martin. Robert Bray was someone who I just kind of went on Facebook and, you know, was looking at folks' pictures and stuff like that and hit him up in his inbox, and he was down, and he's been rocking with us for 4 years now, playing one of my co-stars. And then, again, when we got further along in the process, when, again, executive producer Devin Collins got involved, he brought on board Crystal Panther Collins and her casting company, Butterfly Casting. And so that's how we got Tommy Ford. That's how we got Kim Whitehead. That's how we really were able to round out the cast with some really strong, talented actors.
Yeah. Okay, great. Are there any kind of stories in particular that you really want to tackle during the series, or at least in this first season?
Yes, but I can't tell you, right, Keith? You got to watch.
We don't want to give them everything.
Right, you know, we can't give them everything. But I will say, if I was just being broad, just saying again that I just want it to be authentic. I want it to be, you know, a vehicle to highlight things that are actually going on in our communities, you know, in every aspect. So if you see it when you walk out of your door, if you experience it while you are at home, if you are living in a disadvantaged community and it is something that adds stress to your life, do not be surprised if you see that thing presented in the Land FAU, because that was the goal of the show.
Gotcha. Keeping it current and fresh. I like it. Just like the very phrase they use on one of my favorite, you know, classic canon shows, Law and Order, where they say ripped straight from the headlines.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So when can we start expecting to see the episodes air?
Spring of 2018, and if you are outside of Central Ohio, you can definitely check it out online. And we'll be circulating that information. You just keep an eye out on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page. You can like it, love it, The Land FAU, and all the information will be up there current as far as specific dates, and you'll be able to see behind the scenes as we're continuing with production and all of our promo videos. And then you can give us some feedback. You can just show us some love, because we love to hear feedback. We love to hear how we're making people feel, how we're impacting folks' lives.
Great, that
so
is
hit
awesome.
us up.
I'm sure the fans will do. So, in closing, are there any other works that are going to be out sooner that you would like our readers to keep an eye out for?
That's a great question. I think, you know what, this just has my full attention right now. I mean, there's smaller things that I am working on, like a play, like a televised Christmas play that I'm really excited about. And I guess so you can kind of stay tuned to my personal page, Dominique Paramore. I feel like I am the only Dominique Paramore in the world. You cannot miss me if you look for me on any social media platform. And, you know, you can kind of see some intermediate stuff between. It'll be cool. It'll be nice.
Okay, awesome. Well, we definitely will do that. I am not surprised that nobody else has your name, because clearly you are a very unique person, and it has transitioned right over to your name. That is one of the few things that people have in this world where you can be like, I'm the only one who has this name on Facebook. It's like almost impossible.
And it's not a stage name. Like, my dad's a Paramore, and my mom named me after Diane Carroll. She named me after Diane Carroll's character in Dynasty, Dominique Devereaux. So.
Oh, that is awesome. I wouldn't even have gotten that. I always, when people mention Dynasty, I always have fond memories of it, because my mentor was actually on there as well at some point. And so it's the classic.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, Dynasty was fire, man. People act like it was, you know, because it ain't still going on. But, you know, shout out to Dynasty.
Well, that's why they brought it back.
They held down.
They're bringing back all the classics.
Yeah, it'll come back.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dominique, thank you so much for joining us today, and it was a great time talking with you. And guys, make sure that you keep a lookout for her, and thank you very much for tuning in to The Real Deal with Keith Trent.
Hey TNE fans, we hope you enjoyed today's phone interview with The Real Deal with Keith Trent, and we look forward to having your input and comments below. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, feel free to press that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos, interviews, or fun stuff to come. Until next time, guys, take care.